just dropped off my mom at the airport, and it's very sad.
Well, we'll see you next year.
Yeah. I always celebrate Thanksgiving till my mom leaves. It was a really weird Thanksgiving. It was, first of all, it was our first vegan Thanksgiving. So it actually was, I felt very happy that I'm not part of this turkey killing. How did you feel over Thanksgiving?
Relieved.
Because you never enjoyed baking turkeys.
Yes.
And we always got into an argument every Thanksgiving. The whole baking turkey thing was a nightmare. It's not a German tradition. It's not a Korean tradition. It's an American tradition. Baking turkey never made us happy. We were always getting arguments. And at the end, when the turkey was done, Ray was never happy with his turkey. To me, it is such a weird tradition, this whole turkey baking, and I never liked it.
And you know, it's not the favorite food of my parents.
No.
Or I don't think your mom is her favorite either.
No.
Right? And I'm back when I used to bake turkey, I was very picky about how the turkey needs to turn out.
Right.
So
this is why we always get into arguments.
Yeah. So, but then now that I don't have to worry about that. I don't miss turkey. I mean, it's really not the tasty thing that people think it is. I'm always disappointed every year. You know, even though I've had probably the best baked or fried. You know, deep frying is good too, but I never. Ultimately, it's not my favorite. You know? No. And I'm so happy I don't have to contribute to. Especially now that I'm more sensitive when I see turkeys, live turkeys. Yeah. It's very sad, you know, that they've been raised and they're just being slaughtered for one day, really, you know. Yeah. And maybe, throughout the Christmas season, somebody bakes one. Yeah. It's very sad. Millions of turkeys. Yeah. Millions being slaughtered for a day that we're supposedly celebrating, right? Right. One thing I was reminded recently, especially after our recent election, is that we do celebrate Thanksgiving because of the Pilgrim story, right? They came here and they struggled, and in the end they were helped and rescued by Indians, right? And the Native Americans helped them so they wouldn't all starve to death, and because of that we celebrate this occasion. But we forget what happens after that, right? How the Native Americans and Indians are pushed into basically the unwanted areas of our land, right? Of their land originally. And we always forget that side of it. So maybe this is a good time for us to reflect that. Sure, that was a Thanksgiving for the Pilgrims, but we should also be mindful of the end results that came out of that. You know, the Native Americans and Indians that live in their original lands that we pretty much pushed out. Nice story where our original settlers. They come here, they struggle, and then they're helped, and they have this sharing and caring with the natives that live in the what it will become the United States. And then after that, it's a lot of suffering for them. Yeah. So, it's a nice idea, but we should also see if be more mindful of other points of view. Which is what I've learned from this just recent election. Be mindful of other points of views. Yeah, so we just have to remember, it's very straightforward. If we accept the story of Thanksgiving, right, of the Pilgrims, then you have to say that we are, for the vast majority of us, immigrants, right, or descendant of immigrants, unless you were Native American Indians, right? So if you're Native Americans or Indians, you can say that you're not immigrants, but everybody else, we're all immigrants. We're a nation of immigrants. If you look throughout history, as we had waves of immigration from different parts of Europe and later Asia, but if you think about it, right, at each time, say when the Irish came over, or when the Polish came over, when the, there's even a section of Germans that came over, right? So at each of those groups, large groups started coming over, usually because they had famine in their country or some kind of plight that really caused them to need to flee their country, or they saw some opportunity in the U.S., they were considered the ones that you didn't want, right? And they were portrayed very negatively and very xenophobically. But now, when we look at them, they're the ones who claim, oh, we're Americans, right? This is our country, and sometimes I get that feeling too. It's like, this is my country, right? But based on our what's their ethnic backgrounds, right? I guess now they're all considered white Americans, right? So in that sense, sometimes when I have the feeling that this is my America type thing, once in a while I get reminded that when it doesn't happen often, but once in a while people tell me, hey, where are you from? You're obviously from another country. Like, what? But it really made me think about, well, what does it mean to celebrate Thanksgiving, right? And it goes back to what we talked about was, and we kind of discussed it, but in the end it was kind of uncomfortable, is what does it really mean to have Thanksgiving? We came here as pilgrims, right, our forefathers, and and they struggled, and they made it through their first winter, right, with the help of natives Native American Indians that were here already. They helped them, right? They helped them. They taught them lessons. At least that's what the traditional story is, right? But then we don't think about what happened to the Native American Indians after that, right? We treated them horribly.
We did.
I mean, horribly. We went to wars, right? Obviously, when you have war, neither side really wins, right? I mean, there's a lot of suffering on both sides. But in the end, historically, you could say that we took their land, right? We took their land. I mean, there are people too now. I mean, that's the way I view it. Obviously, not everybody on either side will view it that way, but we're all, we settled where we are now, and whether it's fair or not. But it really made me think is that I know there's people out there who don't celebrate Thanksgiving. It's a small group, but I can see why. Like I said, now that I'm mindful about turkeys and killing turkeys, it also makes me think about, well, we're thankful for that moment in Thanksgiving, but how can you be thankful about everything else that occurs related to it, right? Because we obviously didn't do the best job when it comes to living peacefully. I don't think we're going to celebrate Thanksgiving anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I still love Christmas, right?
Mm-hmm. We celebrate with family. We go out and.
It's a time of family and reflecting on what we can do to help our country be great, right? So make it a better place for our kids. As vegans eating meat, the honey baked ham and the turkey, of course, right? How can you have Thanksgiving without turkey, right? It's a tradition. But then as vegans, that doesn't fit us anymore. But yeah, it made me question and thinking about, well, I'm sure there's people out there who don't really see it the way I see it. And it's a small group because most people see the Thanksgiving the way I see it, as this cultural heritage. But you can see, it's like, Pilgrims came here, they struggled, and with the help of Native American Indians here, they survived, and then eventually that was like the stepping stone to the founding of this great nation, right? But then at the same time, there's the flip side of that, right? We came here and we pushed out all the Native American Indians here into crappy places, pieces of land, throughout the United States. So, now that I started questioning the whole eating the meat thing, it really made me think, well, what other part are we celebrating without really thinking